Hi everyone, it's Elaine Hamilton. We're going to explore this idea of holding beliefs lightly. It comes in response of a question that I got on one of my videos. My latest one, What is Love? And it was when we send Reiki. Are we actually sending energy into a network that then travels along and eventually gets to the person in mind? Or are we just basically raising our hands so that Reiki, as the teacher, then calls on us? And then we say, that guy over there needs some healing. And then locally, Reiki acts for that person. So I kind of love the way that the mind is working to try and figure this out. And actually, I'm not going to answer the question because I don't know the answer to that. But it did get me thinking about the way the mind constantly needs to know how things work when clearly there is no answer for how things work. So essentially, what the mind is trying to do is it's trying to soothe itself, to try and put things into a level of establishment, right? So it's when you think about the way that your mind works, it's constantly trying to categorize, it's trying to put things in a place so that it can understand the world. And then, with a very false sense of security, it believes that because it understands the world, it's safe, it's secure. And if the one thing that this year has taught us is there is no such thing. The world is chaotic. At any moment, things might change. Things are moving at a pace that we really can't kind of keep up with. Or certainly at my age, I can't keep up with it. I can't keep up with AI. I can't keep up with the technology. I can't keep up with my banking apps. I can't keep up with the updates on my phone. So the way that we can approach that is to try and tighten and to try and understand more and more and more what's happening. Or we can go the opposite direction, which is a remembrance of the fact that this is all simply a matrix, right? It's all simply the manifestation of consciousness into the 10,000 things. And if you look at it like that, it's really interesting because the mind thinks it needs to understand in order to be safe, in order to feel secure. If it understands what's happening, and that's why people grab at religion or they grab at belief systems or they grab at a philosophy, they grab at right, they grab at wrong, they grab at ethics, morality. All this stuff is essentially belief systems, all of it. And so what you're doing is you are jumping from belief system to belief system when your younger belief system is no longer seeming to work, then you move and you grasp at another one. And you see this all over, and you are doing this, right? So it's maybe when you were younger, you had a certain belief system about how the world worked, or you had a certain religious belief, or you had a belief in Santa Claus, whatever. And that gave you a sense of settled or soothing, kind of established structure. So you're looking for a structure. And then as you grow older, that gets blown out of the water. You realize that doesn't exist, or maybe the God that you were worshiping doesn't suit you anymore. And so then you grab for another. And even if you grab at atheism, that's still grabbing at belief. So you're still grabbing at, oh, there's no God, and therefore this happens, this happens, this happens. Now, we all know that we don't know. And anybody that thinks they know what's definitely going to happen to them when they die is deluded because you can't possibly know, right? So you can have certain beliefs and you can have certain ideals and certain hopes. Mainly it's hope, right? You hope it's going to be like this because it soothes you. Ultimately, you don't know. Now, coming back to the Reiki question, we have no clue how Reiki works. None of us do. We have lots of ideas, we have lots of belief systems. I myself have jumped from belief system to belief system as information has come in that doesn't seem to quite fit, and then I will look for another belief. And I have really got to the point now where it is totally unnecessary to come up with what's working and why is it working. So I say hold your beliefs lightly because everything that I say on this channel, honestly, it's just blah, 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 right? None of it is truth because I don't know what the truth is, especially around Reiki. I'm giving you my best guess and I'm giving you my experience based on many years of experimentation. But even when I'm asked a question, or there's like this question which has been posed when we send Reiki, what's actually happening? I can tell you experientially that there seems or there appears to be a connection because when we send Reiki, often the person receiving it will feel something. And that happens whether or not they realize they're getting sent Reiki. So the first experience I had of Reiki, being sent Reiki, was I was shopping in a supermarket. And my mum had said, oh, a friend of ours was going to send me some Reiki. And I was like, whatever, then completely forgot about it. I was walking through a supermarket with my trolley. I had no time, I had no date, I had no reason to believe someone would send me Reiki apart from a passing comment that my mother made days before. And I felt the experience by then. I was very familiar with the Reiki feeling. When I Reiki myself, there's a certain feeling I get. And I got that feeling all through my body. And I instinctively knew there was Reiki happening in my body. And there was a bit of confusion before I remembered what my mom had said, that somebody was going to send me Reiki. So then I validated that when I got home. I checked in, and that person had indeed been sending me Reiki at the time I felt it. So this, to me, was proof that there was some kind of energy exchange happening. But how that happens, whether it's simply her intention at the time that somehow telepathically I'm picking up on, whether it is the Reiki in my locality is activated or the Reiki in my body is activated through her intention. I mean, we're never going to know that, right? Maybe science figures it out and tells us, but it's highly unlikely because essentially Reiki is a universal life force that is working beyond our capacity at the moment, beyond our capacity to understand it. So then you get to the point of, okay, beliefs in general. And I think if you hold the idea that a belief structure is simply your mind's way of feeling comfortable and safe. That's it. If you hold it lightly like that, there is no real ultimate truth in any belief. There's no belief that is ultimately true. By very definition, it's a belief. So it can't be the truth because the truth is simply the truth. And it's believed by everybody, not because it's belief in something. It simply is. So I guess the ultimate truth is the I amness, that I exist in some capacity. And then how you extrapolate that into how I exist, who I am, what I am, all that stuff is belief. So the only thing that you can know for absolute certainty is this sense of I amness, this sense of existence. And everybody has the same sense. So I would say that's the only ultimate truth, is this idea that We are conscious. We are aware. There's a sense of awareness. But what that is, who that is, how that is, all that stuff then comes into belief. So if you accept that, it's very helpful because then what happens is any belief that comes in, any question that comes in, any thought that comes in, we start to hold extremely lightly because it's maybe, maybe we send through a kind of cosmic mycelium network. See, this is why I love Star Wars. And now they're actually beginning to realize that it's true, right? Like plants, forests have mycelium networks. Star Trek knew this decades ago, but there we go. And so, this idea that there is an ultimate belief or there's an ultimate way that Reiki works, and that somehow when you crack this, like, what's it going to give you anyway? It's simply go with your own personal experience, not what you believe is happening, what somebody else believes that is happening, what somebody tells you, what they don't tell you. None of it is ultimately correct. So it doesn't matter. It honestly doesn't matter what you believe. You believe what you want to believe. But I would say it's very, very helpful when you hold things really lightly. It means that when you get information that triggers fear, or triggers a sense, like, what was it I was reading last night? I was reading this, some astrology thing. And it came up on my feed and it was like, oh, there's an opportunity for this new moon or whatever the moon, I don't know what the hell's happening, but this thing that is happening today or yesterday. And if you don't know where you're going, if you don't know what you want and you don't ask for it correctly, it will be lost forever. It will go to somebody else. Somebody else will take the gift that was meant for you and they will use it. It was so funny. Immediately, I could feel the fear in my body. I was like, oh my God, someone's taking my gift because I don't know what I'm doing. And it brought this second of stress in my body of, oh my God, I need to know what I'm doing. I need to know. Luckily, only a second, right? Because then, of course, my mind or my more relaxed state, my conscious self just starts laughing because I'm like, oh my God, there you were very well hooked for that second, thinking that I had to do something, I had to be something, I had to know what I was doing, where I was going, and all this stuff. And you're just buying in to the whole rhetoric that we have been force fed since childhood, that there is a direction, there's a right way to go, there's a wrong way to go, there's a black, there's a white, there's a yes, there's a no, there's duality, that there is duality and you can get it wrong. It's very, very stressful. That foundational belief system that you can get it wrong and that there is a right way and a wrong way is the foundation of all your suffering, all of it. So if you can just accept that that is a belief system, I mean, you only have to think about it for 2 seconds to realize that's absurd, that there's a right way to live your life. And it's a really strong belief. And we are conditioned into it. And it's confirmed. People will constantly ask you, and they get stressed when you don't have the answer for you. So if they ask you, like, so what are your plans for the next, what's next for you? And you don't know, or you have the audacity to say, I'm not thinking about it. I don't really care about it. People get very stressed for you, very stressed. And it can be really hilarious to watch because that's their belief system. That's simply their belief system. And they feel more comfortable when they can put you into one of part of their structure. Oh, she's doing this, that this is next for her, this is next for me, this is where we're all going. And for a lot of people, that creates a lot of sense or appearance of stability. But it's an appearance and it's an illusion. It's not true. So if you can live in the I don't know-ness, which is the truth, and simply do what comes out of that. And for a lot of people, they feel, well, if I don't know, then I don't know what to do. I won't know what to do. I won't know. I will just sit there like a big blob. Again, that's a belief system. It just never happens like that. The movement that turned on this video, the movement that made me read this comment and then go, oh, that's a fun video. That didn't come from planning. I only read it like 15 minutes ago. So the idea that if you don't really know, like you don't have a firm belief about things, that belief is somehow responsible for your future. I mean, just think about that for 5 minutes. It's hilarious. Like a plant doesn't have belief systems, but it survives, it thrives, it grows, it doesn't know what's next. It just becomes what's next. And this is exactly the same for humans. We are animal. We're just animals. We're just living entities. We're not special. There's a specialness in the fact that we can think ahead, we can plan ahead. We've done a lot of good and bad with that, but it's not what drives us. Our ability to think is not what creates the next moment. The next moment is created through the appearance of the 10,000 things, right? That it just simply arises. And that is a mystery. How that happens, why that happens, it's incredible. That is the mystery of life, the unfolding process that somehow just happens right in front of your eyes every moment, every next moment. It's really miraculous. But we don't think that up here into existence. So if you don't have a belief system about something, if you don't hold your beliefs very tightly, if you don't know what you're doing next, it makes no difference. It's seriously makes no difference. And you can just try this as an experiment for yourself. You can just drop everything you think you know. And if you're too scared to do it for a month, do it for a day, do it for a week, whereby you allow the next moment to happen without a plan. Just try it. Just try it. Try it for a day. Try it for an hour, whatever. You will be shocked. Life carries on without your thinking. I mean, you go to bed at night, world's still here when you wake up. You didn't have to think your way through the world for the 8 hours you were sleeping. The world turns, just does that. Anyway, the question, I haven't answered the question because it wasn't the reason for this video. The reason for this video was to really invite you to think less in terms of beliefs and open more to the miracle that is the life appearing, right? The life is appearing. And when you have a curiosity around what is appearing and less curiosity about what you think about it, then life becomes a lot more fun and a lot more spontaneous and a lot more enjoyable because you're not trying to put things into these different categories and trying to figure it out. You're actually coming much more from a place of the simple beingness of life itself. Everything kind of just slows down, everything just becomes much calmer. The emotions just come and go a lot more. Um, yeah, it's a lot easier. Life becomes a lot simpler and a lot easier, and you don't have to waste a lot of energy trying to construct a structure within where you think you need to go next. I don't know. Blah blah blah. All right, guys. Ah, see you next time.